L.A. County Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Lakshmanan Satyavagaswaran testified on June 14th that Brown's time of death was estimated as between 10 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Cato Kalin testified on March 22nd, 1995, that he last saw Simpson at 9:36 p.m. that evening. Awfully specific. I'm sorry, I don't care. I would be the worst witness, and I would be the worst anything if I was on trial. I don't remember specific 9:36.
No,
I don't know, around 9:30.
Be like, what time? I'll ask him, what time was the recital over? They'll be like, it was over at this time, and we know OJ left at this time. He goes, well, between this and this. That's what I would say. Between this time and that.
I'm saying Cato, though.
Right,
I saw him at exactly, the last time I saw him was 9:36.
Approximately 9:36. And how do you know that? Well, I always look at my watch.
Right. Well, whatever. Simpson was not seen again until 10:54 p.m. when he answered the intercom at the front door for the limousine driver, Alan Park.
Maybe the limo driver did know exactly what time it was because he's been waiting.
Well, of course he does. He's probably been looking at his watch the whole time.
Every minute seemed like a year, so he knows what 10:50. He know what he did that whole 10:54. From 10:53 to
Cato. Well, he arrived at the residence at like 10:20 something. So
right.
He's probably been looking at his watch every minute, so he knew exactly what time.
Right.
As far as Cato, though, what is he documenting everything in his life? 9:36 and 34 seconds.
He probably sits.
The hell out of
he
there,
probably
Cato.
sits next to the window, facing OJ's house, waiting for him to come home every night.
That's true. Wagging his tail.
Oh, he didn't stop by, and he just sits there and waits. And he knows if OJ leaves the porch light on, he can come over. Simpson had no alibi for approximately 1 hour and 18 minutes during which time the murders took place. Alan Park testified on 28th of March, 1995, that he arrived at Simpson's home at 10:25 p.m. on the night of the Moitas and stopped at Rockingham entrance. Simpson's Bronco was not there. He then drove over.
Which he said that he knew because of the, he saw the street number, and then the cops found his Bronco at the street number that Alan Park would have had to look at when he got there.
Yeah, but he has two different entrances to his house here.
Yeah, but it was at the Rockingham entrance. That's where the Bronco was found.
Right. Okay, and he tells he drove up to Rockingham at first. Simpson's Bronco wasn't there. Then he drove over to the Ashford entrance and rang the intercom 3 times, getting no answer. This was started at 10:40 p.m. So he's sitting there from 10:40.
15 minutes to go over to the other entrance.
All right.
At approximately 10:50 p.m., he said he saw a tall African-American shadowy figure. I don't know how he would determine he's African-American if it's a shadowy figure, but it said he resembled Simpson.
It could have been Kalin.
He approached the front door before boarding towards the southern walkway that leads to Kalin's bungalow. So this is where he supposedly dropped the glove. Park's testimony was significant because it explained the location of the glove found at Simpson's home.
Right.
The blood trail from the Bronco to the front door was easily understood, but the glove was found
to the front door of the house or to Cato
to his house. That was easily understood, but the glove was found on the other side of the house.
Right.
Park said the shadowy figure initially approached the front door before heading down the southern walkway, which leads to where the glove was found by Furman. So there's no blood trail. So if there's a blood trail from the Bronco to the front door of the house, was there a blood trail to from the front to going over to the bungalow? Right, that's what I'm saying, where the glove was found.
The prosecution believed that Simpson had driven his Bronco to and from Brown's home to commit the Moitas. Saw that Park was there and aborted his attempt to enter through the front door and tried to enter through the back instead, over back at Rockingham where the guy was at in the first place. He panicked, made the sounds that Kalin heard when he realized that security system would not let him enter through the rear entrance.
Well, because, he only owns a house. Don't see why it wouldn't, but
that don't make no sense there. He then discarded the glove, came back and went through the front. I mean, no.
That's got to be the dumbest criminal in the world to discard the glove on your property.
No, glove. He knew he had two.
Well, the other one was at the scene.
Right. Why would he leave that?
And why would he leave the other one that could convict him
on his lawn?
Right. I mean, come on, guys.
That sounds like a
not
setup.
right.
And now it sounds like a
this
setup.
is not sounding very plausible to me. I don't care.
Right now, no. At first, when we heard the first episode, all the evidence and all this, I'm like, man, there's a glove in his yard.
But he had the time. But he had it in his right mind to put all his other clothes in a knapsack. But conveniently, he would go dispose of the glove.
It just drop a glove outside Cato Kalin.
Go all the way back to the bungalow to do that too, right?
Get that.
I don't know. Well, during cross-examination, Park conceded that he could not identify the figure, but said he saw that person enter the front door, and afterwards Simpson answered and said he was home alone. Park conceded that he did not notice any cuts on Simpson's left hand, but added, "I shook his right hand, not his left." Okay, well now this guy's saying that dude went in the house, but Simpson. Well, how do you know Simpson was
Probably
home?
didn't go in the house. He probably was standing outside the limo. And shut his
No,
somebody,
he
opened
said the
door.
shadowy figure went in the house,
Right.
but Simpson said he was home alone.
Right.
So I don't know. I would hate to be a juror on this case already.
The prosecution presented a total of 108 exhibits, including 61 drops of blood and DNA evidence allegedly linking Simpson to the Moitas. With no witnesses to the crime, the prosecution was dependent on DNA as the only physical evidence linking Simpson to the crime. I mean, DNA. DNA is DNA, right?
Right.
Or is that still questionable?
No.
The volume of DNA evidence in this case was unique, and the prosecution believed they could reconstruct how the crime was committed with enough accuracy to resemble an eyewitness account.
Resemble? Well, Marsha Clark stated in her opening statements that there was a trail of blood from the Bundy crime scene through Simpson's Ford Bronco to his bedroom at Rockingham. And it's all through the house,
All the
too,
way
huh?
down,
She said, first of all, Simpson's DNA found on blood drops next to the bloody footprints near the victims at the Bundy's crime scene. Probability of error was 1 in 9.7 billion. So they found his blood at the crime scene. Simpson's
found on blood
DNA
drive next to bloody footprints near the victims at the Bundy crime scene.
at Nicole's house.
Wow.
Simpson's DNA was found on a trail of blood drops leading away from the victims, towards and on the back gate at Bundy. Probability of error was 1 in 200.
Wow. That's actually quite small.
Well, yeah, the first one was 9.7 billion, though.
Right.
Simpson, Goldman, and Brown's DNA found on the blood outside of the door and inside Simpson's... Whoa. All three of them were on the door and inside Simpson's Bronco. Probability of error was 1 in 21 billion.
Right.
Simpson's DNA found on blood drops leading from the area where his Bronco was parked at Simpson's Rockingham home to the front door entrance. Simpson, Brown, and Goldman's DNA on a bloody glove found behind his home. Simpson and Brown's DNA found on blood on a pair of socks in Simpson's bedroom. Conveniently, he just leaves them in the bedroom, but took all his other clothes in the knapsack. Probability of error was 1 in 6.8 billion.
I mean, that's some evidence.
How about that? As soon as she said all that,
Right. That's some evidence right there.
OJ, you're getting cuffed and
Locked
you're
up.
in jail, dude.
I mean, the trial should be over by then.
Yeah.
The defense should be like, we rest our case. Or whatever.
The jury should be like, yeah, guilty.
Right. And the judge should be like, yep.
you
You guys don't even
You got
need
no
to be-
deliberation
I
here.
don't even need to hear juries. Juries just shake your head.
Wow.
Even OJ's like,
Wow. How do you... I don't know. I guess we can go conspiracy theories and elaborate cover-up. Somebody could have got a hold of OJ's blood and dropped it at the scene, but, I mean...
is it legal for OJ, once that happened, once he got released and walked down the steps and all the press was there, and he'd be like, guess what, y'all? I just got away with Moida.
I don't think you can charge for the same crime.
Right? He can walk down the steps. I just got away with Moida. I just got away with Moida. I'm just saying. What do you say? Hello, Twitter fan. How'd you do it?
Hello, Twitter world.
Usual. What's he say?
It's me, yours truly.
Yeah, George Struley. or
George
something.
Struley.
He was George Struley.
It's yours truly.
The press is like, yeah, you did.
They're all like from they're from Little Nicky when they take over the fucking priest. He's like, let the sin begin, and everybody's like, dancing in the church.
And you got Harvey Levin in the back. I'm a lawyer. I don't know. LAPD criminalist and hair fiber expert Susan Brockbank testified on the 27th of June, 1995. And FBI special agent and fiber expert Doug Diedrich testified on the 29th of June to the following findings.
Uh-oh.
The fibers from the glove found at Simpson's home microscopically match the one found at the crime scene, proving they were each other's mate. Both of the victims, the two gloves, and the blue knit cap worn by the killer had hair consistent with Simpson. Wow. The hair in the blue knit cap worn by the killer was embedded in the seams, indicating it was there from being worn repeatedly. So he wore this hat more than once, which is a mistake. Dark blue cotton clothing fibers were found on both victims. The video from the dance recital that Simpson attended earlier that night shows him wearing a similarly colored shirt. Kato Kalin testified that Simpson was still wearing that shirt when they got McDonald's, or was it Burger King?
Right.
But not anymore when he answered the door for the limousine driver.
Of course, it would change.
Right. He's flying to Chicago.
Right.
The police searched his home, but the shirt was never found.
So he didn't have any other blue
but
shirt.
The
in his
glove was
house?
found,
Right. And the socks.
and the hat was found,
And the socks.
and the socks.
In his bedroom,
In his
nonetheless.
bedroom.
When he packed
But-
everything out.
But he got rid of the shirt.
Right. And he didn't have any other similarly colored shirt in his
Right.
closet.
That was the
dude.
only shirt. Wow.
Hair consistent with Goldman was found on Brown, and clothing fibers consistent with Brown was found on Goldman.
That makes sense. They're lovers.
Well, they're also stating that the murderer had contact with both of them.
Right.
This supported the prosecution's theory that the assailant killed Brown first, then Goldman, and afterwards returned to Brown to cut her throat. The hair consistent with Brown that was found on the Rockingham glove was torn, which also supports the prosecution claim that the killer grabbed Brown by her hair to cut her throat.
Yeah.
Fibers that were only used in the 1993-1994 model year Ford Bronco, same car that Simpson owns, were found on both victims, the knit cap, and on both gloves. Dude, that is so crazy that they can just pinpoint that shit.
All right, get that fiber off the.
So dumb. The glove found at Simpson's home that belonged. They're telling me there's no other fibers in the world that was used in a Ford Bronco that was like exclusive to Ford.
Well,
They got like their own special fibers made.
that year.
Nothing else in Ford.
That year, Bronco in the color blue. I mean, all
Come
that.
on, come on,
The
dude.
seats.
Come on,
Yeah, I don't know.
come on. Like there was no other fibers.
Clearly there were, right?
The glove found at Simpson's home that belonged to the murderer had hair and clothing fibers consistent with Simpson, Brown, and Goldman, as well as fibers from a 93-94 Ford Bronco and Brown's Akita dog.
Okay.
So he has,
So he pet the dog first.
or he threw it out of the way because it was barking and shit, remember?
Right.